A 16-year-old boy is in hospital after being shot near Jane and Sheppard in North York, and now police are looking for 4 suspects.
The TTC will equip special constables and fare inspectors with body cams as part of a 9-month pilot project.
And a rainfall warning has ended for Toronto, but we still remain under a special weather statement for strong wind gusts tonight. We'll tell you all about it.
Good afternoon and welcome to CP24 Live at Noon. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Lena Ladifat. Thanks so much for joining us. Police are looking for 4 suspects in a shooting that sent a 16-year-old boy to hospital with serious injuries.
Okay, now let's go live to CP24's Courtney Hills, who's at Jane and Sheppard, who has the latest on the investigation. Courtney.
And Bakari, Lena, I've just got off the phone with Toronto police. They confirm this is still a very active investigation. No arrests made yet at this time. Still looking for the 4 suspects believed to be involved in this shooting that took place last night. Where we are, we're along Sheppard, not far from Jane, in front of an apartment building. What we're hearing from residents, the shooting happened outside. It was just before 11 o'clock last night. Emergency crews were called here over reports of the shooting. They say when they arrived, they found the victim, a 16-year-old boy with life-threatening injuries. He was rushed to hospital. The good news, a bit of an update on his condition, an upgrade. He is now in non-life-threatening condition, but obviously still very serious injuries given that he was the victim of this shooting. And police say they're still looking for 4 males believed to be involved in this. There's really not much of a description here, guys. What we're hearing from police, they're saying that 4 males believed to be around 5'10", between the weight of about 145 to 165 pounds. One was wearing a white vest, another in shorts. But we do know police would be going over surveillance video in this neighborhood, also looking to see if any residents maybe captured something on their phones or dash camera that might help them try to track down who was responsible for this. So the latest, no arrests. The search continues. Being here for the last little while, many residents, aware of what happened last night, but really, really afraid, not feeling comfortable going on camera because they're concerned to see something like this happening so close to home and in their neighborhood. So very disturbing for sure. And that search still on for the people responsible. This 16-year-old still in hospital. Over to you.
All right, Courtney Hills reporting live. Thanks so much. A man has been arrested in connection with a murder in North York last weekend.
Yeah, 67-year-old Alfonso Corpus was charged with second-degree murder. Police say that he was arrested yesterday in connection with the fatal stabbing Saturday morning near Bathurst and Wilson. The victim has been identified as 51-year-old Jolly Ann. Was found with severe injuries on the ground in a plaza. He was pronounced dead shortly after, and police say the investigation is still ongoing. Anyone with information, you are asked to come forward. And a Toronto police officer who responded to the scene of Constable Jeffrey Northrop's death is testifying at Umar Zamir's murder trial. Today, the defense called Detective Constable Ryan D'Souza, who is part of the major crime unit. He described seeing Umar Zamir on his knees in handcuffs and a damaged police van. D'Souza testified that Zamir told him that a male and female were banging on his vehicle and that he was scared and wanted to get away. He said Zamir told him he didn't know that they were police. Well, yesterday, Umar Zamir finished up his testimony by apologizing to Northrop's family and saying that he never meant to hurt him and wishes that he could bring him back. He's pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder.
Criminal defense lawyer Sonia Schickman spoke to CP24 about Zamir's testimony.
I think the statement goes to the very core issue about how the police officers don't just arrest people, but how police officers investigate crimes at times. His statement conveys the fact that when he was approached by the police officers, it was done in an aggressive manner, and it was done in a manner that led him to believe that he was actually being attacked or potentially robbed. And that raises the issues of police behavior at the time when they not only arrest people but also investigate crimes.
D'Souza is the final witness for the defense.
And some TTC special constables and fare inspectors will soon be equipped with body cams as part of a new pilot project. 20 special constables and 20 fare inspectors will be outfitted with the devices for a 9-month trial. The initiative will use a phased approach where special constables and fare inspectors will rotate wearing the cameras during a 6-week period. The pilot will explore the benefits and potential issues associated with TTC personnel using the equipment. Well, the missing Markham man has been safely located with the help of technology.
They got him?
They got him!
Let's go!
Let's go! Wow.
Nice!
That's insane.
And the 69-year-old man was found inside a TTC bus near McCowan Road and Finch Avenue in Scarborough on Wednesday. Officers in a York Regional Police helicopter successfully tracked down the man who was wearing a Project Lifesaver bracelet. This wristband, it emits a radio tracking signal, and it's designed to protect vulnerable people. The program has a one-time fee of $500, and the batteries need to be changed every few months. Well, it's another soggy and windy day across the GTA, but a rainfall warning has ended. That's the good part. We still remain under a special weather statement issued by Environment Canada advising of wind gusts of up to 80 kilometers per hour tonight. And temperatures are expected to hit a high of 12 degrees Celsius today, going down to a low of 4 overnight.
A new report shows home prices in the country are on the rise. Royal LePage says the aggregate price of a home in Canada jumped 4.3% year over year to just over $812,000 in the first quarter of 2024. The national aggregate home price also increased 2.9% on a quarter-over-quarter basis. The report found 89% of the regions it looked at recorded quarterly price appreciation. It expects the aggregate price of a home will increase 9% in the fourth quarter. And Royal LePage President and CEO Phil Soper joined us this morning with more.
We had pegged the GTA, call it the Golden Horseshoe area, the second fastest appreciating region in the country after Calgary. We're now revising that. We believe the GTA will leap ahead of Calgary. Montreal will leap ahead of Calgary, and they'll be 1, 2, 3 at 8, 8.5, and 10.5% price appreciation this year. So, we're talking about double what we saw only 3 months ago.
Soper says the best way to make homes more affordable is to build more homes. Well, Western University is the latest institution to be hit with a teaching assistant strike. 2,000 workers with Public Service Alliance of Canada Local 610. They're on the picket lines at the campus. Wages and pay clawbacks. Key issues here. Western says it's offered the TAs between $48 and $51 an hour, but the union says that is not enough as they can only do a maximum of 10 hours a week. The union is accusing the university of urging workers to cross the picket lines and says they're trying to fill hundreds of positions with non-unionized teaching assistants. No new talks are scheduled.
Well, the head of Canada's spy agency is testifying for the second time this month at the public inquiry into foreign interference. So David Vigneault is facing fresh questions today on exactly what the federal government was told about foreign meddling. Assis' memo tabled at the inquiry after Vigneault's initial appearance last week says that China clandestinely and deceptively interfered in the last 2 federal elections. However, testimony at the inquiry indicates that many points in written Assis' briefing materials were not relayed to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau or his officials. Well, O.J. Simpson died without having paid most of the $33.5 million judgment awarded to the families of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman after being acquitted at a criminal trial. And Simpson was found liable for their deaths in a civil suit in 1997. That means that his assets will now have to go through the probate process before his 4 children can collect any money. The Brown and Goldman families can seek a share of his estate in court, but it's not clear how much money Simpson left behind, as many of his possessions were seized and auctioned off as part of the jury award.
Well, the former longtime interpreter for Los Angeles Dodgers star Shohei Ohtani has been charged with stealing millions of dollars in a sports betting case.
Yeah, CTV National Scott Hurst is looking into this. So, Scott, this is a big development in the Shohei Ohtani story. So what are the latest details, Scott?
Bakari and Lena, these are significant revelations that we're learning as the federal case is being laid out against the former interpreter and longtime friend of LA Dodgers star and Japanese superstar Shohei Ohtani. $16 million in less than 3 years allegedly stolen from the baseball star. Federal officials are accusing Ippei Mitsuhara of betraying his friend's trust and robbing Ohtani of millions of dollars to pay off gambling debts. All of this happening, apparently, without Ohtani knowing anything about it. Here's a bit of the timeline. From November 21st to January of this year, the federal case accuses Mitsuhara of wiring the money from a checking account belonging to the MLB star, which the translator had helped set up in the first place. Mitsuhara is also accused of impersonating Otani over the phone to trick bank employees into authorizing the wire transfers, and that the translator also denied Otani's U.S.-based financial team access to the account. Here's more from U.S. officials in laying out the case against Ippei Mitsuhara.
Mr. Otani is considered a victim in this case. There is no evidence to indicate that Mr. Otani authorized the over $16 million of transfers from his account to the bookmakers. Mr. Mitsuhara acted as Mr. Otani's de facto manager.
Prosecutors allege that Mitsuhara had unique access to Shohei Otani's finances, and he used and abused that position of trust. Bakari and Lena, at this time, none of the allegations have been proven in court against Ippei Mitsuhara.
And Scott, what are you learning about next steps?
Well, specifically for Mitsuhara, the next step includes an appearance at a U.S. District Court in downtown Los Angeles. That's bound to happen in the near future. The 39-year-old is ultimately charged with bank fraud, a felony offense that carries a maximum of up to 30 years in federal prison. For Shohei Otani, no doubt this has been a major distraction and a headache, as he's also coming to terms with being a part of a new baseball organization, as he recently signed with the Los Angeles Dodgers. But prosecutors were clear to point out at this time that Otani is a victim in all of this. Major League Baseball is also conducting an investigation into the entire case involving Shohei Otani and his former translator, Ippei Mitsuhara.
Okay, we'll have to see where this goes. CTV National's Scott Hurst reporting live. Thanks so much, Scott.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. And coming up next on CP24 Live at noon, Pearson Airport is getting a multi-billion-dollar makeover. We're going to talk to the vice president of the GTAA. That's coming up.
Well, flyers, get ready. Canada's busiest and largest airport is getting a major makeover. The GTAA just announced a multi-billion-dollar investment it says will help prepare for a new era. The initiative has been dubbed the Pearson Lift program.
It's aimed at modernizing and updating Pearson Airport. And for more, we want to bring in Karen Mazurkiewicz, Vice President of Stakeholder Relations and Communications with the GTAA. Karen, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. So, okay, for travelers who go to New York, we've seen the makeover at LaGuardia. And then for those travelers who go to Singapore, we know what that airport looks like. Are we looking at in between? What are we talking about here?
Oh, well, thanks for raising those. And absolutely, competition matters. And so LIFT is a long-term investment in facilities and terminals. So we are looking at injecting $1 billion into this airport going forward, but it's over the course of a decade, and it's going to be over through several phases. But what's really important as well is that right now Toronto is has the most international flights in North America. We're one of the most competitive airports in North America, and we have to stay competitive. And that means some long-term investment. We're ready for investment here, and we need it because LaGuardia, Chicago O'Hare, they're coming for us.
What are some tangible changes that passengers are going to notice in the next few years?
So in the next few years, there'll be some changes that passengers will see, upgrades to our facilities in the terminals. There'll also be changes that they won't see, but hopefully they will feel. There's a lot of changes that we have to do. Just like you do a home renovation, you have to go behind the walls with electrical and plumbing. Well, very similar here. We're going to be doing a lot of electrical work. We're going to be doing a lot of expanding the taxi runways for airplanes to land those wider body planes, so planes get on and off those gates faster. A lot of things that hopefully the passengers will see in terms of the efficiencies and speed in which they get to go to their destinations.
Okay, 45 million passengers in 2023. That number is expected to grow to 65 million by the next decade. So how does this plan take into account that kind of growth?
So that's exactly why we're doing the work that we're doing right now, because the growth is dramatic. We're seeing huge passenger demand. So one of the things that we're doing is some interim facilities to manage some of this growth. There's a lot of new passengers that will be coming on board, and so it's going to be incredibly important for us to expand our terminal facilities, and also a lot of digital tools. We're finding that passengers today, just like any other industry, they want to be able to use their phones, get on faster, move faster. They're using our tools, but we have to be more digitized here at the airport as well. So hence some of work on that front as well.
Speaking of moving faster, Pearson has previously earned some dubious distinctions. Once ranked the second worst largest airport in North America for overall traveler satisfaction. Do you hope this major investment is going to change how some people feel about the airport?
Well, first, I'd like to put a qualifier in. We were actually named 6 years out of 7 as one of the best airports in North America for customer experience. And that was an award given by airports with no skin in the game. They're all measuring themselves, the airport industry. A number of other surveys and a lot of polling we've done show that we're really strong. That said, absolutely. We're looking with this investment to make us the most technologically advanced, passenger-friendly and green airport in North America.
And Ms. Mazurkiewicz, how would you explain the travel experience at Pearson Airport now and how you want that to look once this project is done?
So right now, the passenger experience, people want to move a lot more fast through the airport. We have introduced a lot of digital tools going forward to let people move faster. So in many ways, we've done what we can with the facilities we have, but we would like to add more digitization to increase that experience going forward. And that includes also more improvements on things like baggage systems, et cetera. We all know we want baggage systems to be moving faster. We want planes moving back and forth on gates faster. So there are a lot of things that we still need to do to make the experience a better one.
Kara Mazurkiewicz, Vice President of Stakeholder Relations and Communications with the GTAA. Thanks for your time this afternoon.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
And coming up next on CP24 Live at Noon, the TTC is going to test out body cameras. We're going to take a closer look at this pilot project. That's coming up. Welcome back. Some TTC special constables and fare inspectors will soon be equipped with body cameras as part of a new pilot project. For a closer look at this in reaction, we're joined live by Anna Willits, Toronto Police Accountability Coalition. Thanks so much for joining us, Anna. We appreciate your time. This is the first time TTC special constables and fare inspectors will be wearing these body cameras. What do you think of the idea?
Body cameras have not been shown, as far as we know, in past practices with police services to be particularly effective in ending the kind of behavior that people are concerned about. Body cameras are incredibly expensive to run. The time involved in downloading and uploading the video is something to consider. It's an ongoing cost, and I think a lot of people would argue that that money could be better spent to improve the TTC in a number of ways, reduce fares, that kind of thing. And body cameras, people, I think, want them because they believe they will change behavior on the part of the public and on the part of the person wearing them. But in fact, I don't think that that's been shown to be true. A body camera does not get at why doesn't an inspector or a TTC worker pick the person that they do to focus on. Why do people not pay their fare? Those are systemic issues often that are going on, and so body cameras are something quick, easy. On the surface, people believe that they're going to have a big impact, but there's a lot of variables, a lot of systemic issues. They do nothing to address, and in fact they create a lot of costs and a lot of questions in terms of public privacy concerns, who gets access to the coverage. There's just so many issues. A short pilot project is not going to get to the bottom of that. It didn't in 2016 when the Toronto Police implemented a pilot project with body cameras. Lots and lots of questions left. So I don't think it's a great move.
What are your concerns? What do you think might happen if a fare inspector, let's say, is wearing a body camera and then, you know, confronts somebody who isn't paying their fare? And to be fair, the TTC chair, the TTC board says they don't want to use force as a way to get people to pay for transit.
Of course. Well, use of force and the use of a body camera are two different things. In terms of I don't know if the policy was clear on when they're turned on and when they're turned off. They can't be on all the time. That causes really significant privacy concerns. And as you've said, when approaching people who haven't paid their fare, the understanding is that they are not to use force, that they are to talk with folks, that they are to engage in a civil conversation with people. And so would why turn a body camera on in that case? There's just a lot of questions. There's a lot of beliefs that these kinds of tools do way more than they actually do. And humans behave in ways because of biases, because of the suspicions that they hold about people, because of who they perceive to be, that they can have talk to more easily or less easily, who they suspect to be more dangerous. All of these things come into play, and a body camera can't address those things. That is training. That is significant investments in all sorts of stuff.
Anna, I'm running out of time here, but very quickly, I am curious to hear your thoughts on this. We know the board approved this after the city's ombudsman made a number of recommendations. And the recommendations came from an incident where a black teenager was tackled and pinned to the ground by 3 TTC fare inspectors. This happened on a streetcar platform back in 2018. Would this not be a form of accountability for fare inspectors?
It will show what the body camera footage has access to. There are lots of problems with lots of body camera footage, that it's corrupted, that the camera doesn't get turned on or gets turned off, so it only captures a particular moment in time. It's not going to speak to what was in that fare inspector's mind when they took the action that they did. So it gives a little bit of a picture, but police forces use body cameras, and violence happens, and it's targeted towards racialized people. So no, it's not the answer that people think it's going to be.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Anna Willits with the Toronto Police Accountability Coalition. It's been good to get your perspective on this. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
And round 2 of the Masters is underway in Augusta, Georgia.
Bryson DeChambeau leads the pack, opening with a 7 under 65 yesterday, his best start in a major championship. He was 1 shot ahead of Scotty Scheffler, the #1 player in the world. Corey Connors was the top Canadian on the day, finishing the first round with a 2 under. Former Masters champ Mike Weir is 2 over going into round 2.
All right, let's look at some baseball. The Blue Jays are going to open a 3-game series with the Colorado Rockies. That's happening this evening.
Toronto fell 6-1 to Seattle in extra innings on Wednesday. However, the Jays still managed to take 2 of 3 from the Mariners. Toronto is now 6-7 to start the year. Kevin Gausman gets the start tonight, and first pitch is set for just after 7 p.m.
And the Raptors will face the Miami Heat tonight in their second last game of the season. Toronto's coming off a 106-102 loss to the Brooklyn Nets. That was Wednesday. It was the second straight defeat for the Raptors after back-to-back wins. Toronto's lost 17 of its last 19 games and sits 12th place in the East with a 25-55 record. So the Raptors will also face the Heat in their final game of the season. That's going to be Sunday.
Coming up next on CP24 live at noon, a 16-year-old boy is in hospital after being shot near Jane and Sheppard in North York, and police are now looking for 4 suspects. Stay with us for the latest.
A 16-year-old boy is in hospital after being shot near Jane and Sheppard in North York, and police, they're looking for 4 suspects.
The TTC will equip special constables and fare inspectors with body cams as part of a 9-month pilot project.
And a rainfall warning is ended for Toronto, but we still remain under a special weather statement for strong wind gusts. That's tonight.
Good afternoon and welcome to CP24 Live at Noon. I'm Lena Lattifat.
And I'm Bakari Savage. Police are looking for 4 suspects in the shooting. It sent a 16-year-old boy to hospital with serious injuries.
CP24's Courtney Heels has been following this investigation very closely, and she joins us live now with the search for suspects. Courtney.
Good afternoon, Lena and Bakari. That's right. The search is still on for the 4 individuals who are believed to be connected to this pretty brazen shooting that took place last night. Where we are, we're at an apartment building along Sheppard. This is where emergency crews were called overnight. We're hearing from residents the shooting happened outside of the building, and police paramedics say when they arrived, they found the victim, a 16-year-old boy, in life-threatening condition. So that boy rushed to hospital through emergency run. So he was rushed to the hospital, immediately escorted by police so he could get that medical treatment. And the good news, what we're hearing from police, there's been an improvement in his condition. He has non-life-threatening injuries, so still obviously very, very serious, but he remains in hospital and he is in non-life-threatening condition. The search now this afternoon, trying to figure out who is responsible for this shooting. There really isn't much in the way of a description for the 4 suspects. Police say they're looking for 4 individuals, 4 males. They say they were described as being around 5'10", between the weights of 145 to 165 pounds. As for their clothing descriptions, just one was in a white vest, and we heard from police one wearing shorts. But police would be using this time to go over any surveillance video around here. And around here, there are some cameras, so they'll be going over that footage. Also asking residents who maybe captured something on their phone or dash cam video. Anyone who saw anything, heard anything, would be urged to come forward in this investigation. So, Lena, Bakari, we're still in touch with police to see if they have any update. Of course, if we get that, we'll share that with you. But very concerning for people in this area. Word of a 16-year-old, a very young person who suffered gunshot wounds as a result of this shooting overnight. And now there's a huge investigation into finding out who's responsible for it. Over to you.
All right, Courtney, thank you for this. A Toronto police officer who responded to the scene of Constable Jeffrey Northrop's death is testifying at Umar Zamir's murder trial today.
Yeah, the defense called Detective Constable Ryan D'Souza, who's part of the major crime unit. He described seeing Umar Zamir on his knees in handcuffs and a damaged police van. D'Souza testified that Zamir told him that a male and female were banging on his vehicle and that he was scared and wanted to get away. He said Zamir told him that he did not know they were police. Yesterday, Umar Zamir finished up his testimony by apologizing to Northrop's family and saying that he never meant to hurt him and he wishes that he could bring him back. He has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder. And criminal defense lawyer Sonia Shickham, she spoke to us about how the jury in this case will have to go about reaching a verdict.
It's almost like a mathematical problem. They sit down and they look at one version of events, another version of events, and they look at various inconsistencies and they measure them against it. And of course, the judge will tell them at the end of the day they are not to compare stories, but rather they are to come to their conclusion beyond a reasonable doubt whether or not the Crown has proved every element of the offense. And so, by definition, the doubt falls with the defense. So if the jury finds sufficient amount of inconsistencies that raises a doubt, they will have to return a verdict of not guilty.
And D'Souza is the final witness for the defense.
Time now is 12:34, 9 degrees. That rainfall warning has ended for the GTA. Hopefully that's helping the drive. Let's check in with Adwan. What is it?
Just a little bit. Yeah, you know, it's never a good thing on a Friday. Rush hour always comes a little bit early as drivers try to make their way to where they need to be. And then adding to that, some problems, Alina, on the northbound lanes of the Don Valley Parkway. This is just as you make your way on the approach to Don Mills. Stalled vehicle does have that right lane and shoulder block. So that early jump to start your weekend is going to take you a little while if you're on the DVP North. Delays extend on the approach. Then on the 401, we had some problems on the westbound lanes of the 401 and still a little light rain coming down if you're making your way to Mississauga on the approach to Dixie. We had a collision. It was in the right lane. That situation cleared. And if your travels take you towards the Gardiner, it's rain free, but delays are there from Parkside out towards Dufferin through the construction zone. We were dealing with problems in the left lane. They cleared. Outside of camera view, a collision on Keel just south of Steeles. I'll send it back to you.
The CP24 traffic report is brought to you by CapitalDirect.ca.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has unveiled his government's plan to tackle Canada's housing crisis. The Liberals' plan is focused on 3 priorities: building more homes, making it easier to rent or own a home, and helping Canadians who can't afford a place to live. The government is pledging several measures to achieve its goal, including unlocking underused public land to build more housing and eliminating GST for new rental apartment construction projects. The federal government is calling on provinces, territories, and municipalities to step up as full partners in this plan.
Our goal is that no Canadian pays more than 30% of their income towards their home. It's also a plan to make sure that we don't leave the most vulnerable behind, that we keep building housing for people with low incomes, and that we take action to address homelessness so people never have to resort to living in a tent. And it's a Team Canada approach that provides incentives for provinces, territories, builders, and nonprofits to come on board.
We are using every single tool in our toolbox to deliver housing without delay, because we need to make the dream of home ownership a reality for younger Canadians. And in the budget I'll be tabling on Tuesday, we will reveal more of our plan to ensure fairness for every generation.
We need provinces and territories to match our ambition. We need municipal leaders to adopt faster permitting process and more permissible zoning processes so we can actually build more homes in communities that already have the infrastructure to support them. To cities, it's time to legalize more kinds of housing. We need to work together across levels of government to incentivize home builders and support the organizations that are helping people who need a home themselves.
The plan also includes more than $1 billion for a federal homelessness initiative and $250 million to help communities and encampments and transition people into housing. The upcoming federal budget is set to be tabled on Tuesday.
Here's an update to a story that we brought you yesterday. A Kitchener man has learned where a mysterious object that crashed through the roof of his home, where it actually came from, a 25-pound chunk of metal. It came down through the ceiling of Robert Callowin's home. This was on Monday. He initially wondered if it was part of an asteroid or fell from a passing airplane. Well, it turns out the metal was actually part of a machine that's used to clear trees from a nearby ski hill. It's believed that a blade broke off of it after hitting a rock, and then it just went flying.
It went through the trees or over the trees, over the street, over another home, and actually was able to hit somebody. Is unbelievable. Such a freak thing.
And the resort CEO went over to Callowin's house to apologize for the incident. The metal object was eventually taken away by his insurance company.
A severe weather system south of the border has spawned nearly a dozen tornadoes across 6 states.
Yeah, that storm traveled from Texas to the Northeast, bringing heavy rain and strong wind gusts. It triggered flash flooding in Pennsylvania and Washington, with some areas getting more than 10 centimeters of rain in just a few hours. First responders had to rescue several people from the floodwaters. The remainder of the system will linger over the eastern U.S. until tomorrow afternoon.
Well, coming up next on CP24 Live at Noon, we'll tell you how technology helped find a missing man in Markham.
They got him?
They got him!
Let's go!
Let's go! Wow.
Nice.
That's insane. No way that could have been done.
A happy ending. A new video released by police in York Region shows officers locating a missing man with the help of a wristband. The aerial video was taken from the YRP helicopter, and it captured the moment a 62-year-old missing man was located. This was part of an international project known as Project Lifesaver.
And for more on this, let's bring in Sergeant Andy Pattenden with York Regional Police. Great to see you. Thanks for being with us. You can hear the officers in that chopper video celebrating as this missing senior was found. It's such a great moment. What happened? Talk about this case.
Yeah, it really is. The excitement is overwhelming that they have in their voices. It's so nice to hear. It's a combination of using technology that we have as well as some of our fabulous equipment, our helicopter, to locate a missing person. And in this case, we had our Project Lifesaver participant, a missing vulnerable person from York Region. He was missing out of Markham, 69-year-old man. And officers have been deployed in a ground search, so searching all the areas of high hazard. But we also deployed that Project Lifesaver equipment. So the participant has has a wristband on, and we have antennas that we deployed across the region. And in this particular case, it was the antenna that was deployed in our helicopter that began to pick up that signal down in Toronto. It was actually down in the area of down in Finch. And our officers were able to basically try and figure out where that signal was coming from. And as you can see in that video, they were able to locate it, and our officers moved in and found that missing vulnerable man on the bus. And the excitement was overwhelming that our officers were able to locate him in good health using all of this great equipment.
Okay, Sergeant Patton, this is my first time hearing about Project Lifesaver. It's a multi-jurisdictional program since it was founded in 1999, which has helped over 4,000 people. Tell us more about this program and its success.
Yeah, the program itself, in York Region alone, we have just over 50 people who are registered participants. To be a participant, they must be a vulnerable person. We have a number of criteria that they need to meet. But when they are a participant, they're outfitted with one of these bracelets that needs to be maintained fairly regularly. But as soon as they go missing, once we get the call that that person is missing, we can then deploy the antennas throughout the region and try and track down where the person is gone. Oftentimes, these people walk a long way once they go missing. In this particular case, it was just over 12 kilometers from the point last seen that they were found. So very difficult for just officers on the ground to locate someone that's gone that far, which is why this equipment in conjunction with our helicopter was so successful on that day.
Just yesterday, we brought our viewers a story about a missing man, a Toronto man who has dementia, being reunited with his daughters. He had been missing for a number of days. We know that any time a family member goes missing, it is so traumatic for their loved ones. How much does this work mean to the vulnerable and their families?
I mean, it's traumatic for everybody when someone goes missing, especially our most vulnerable people. And that's why this program really is in place. And the real success of this program is getting participants and getting people to register. So I definitely encourage anyone within York Region to log on to yrp.ca/Project Lifesaver. Have a look at the program, what's involved in getting involved with the program, and getting your loved one connected with one of these wristbands so that in the event that they do leave wherever they're staying, it really does help us track them down. And when we have cases where it's extreme weather, time is of the essence. So having these wristbands and being able to track them, minutes count, and this program does save lives.
And I know that there are a number of police services that take part in this program. York Region is one of those parties involved. Do you hope that other police services will sign on as well? Do you hope for an expansion?
Absolutely. As this program expands, it just means more and more people know about it, and more people are going to sign up and be a part of it. So expansion of this program is key, and it definitely, it saves lives and cuts down the amount of time required to find people in the best possible condition that we can. So, it's a great program, and just hats off to our officers here in York Region. They did an amazing job up in that helicopter, and it's so nice that you can hear their excitement, because we have emotions too, and when we find people like this and can reunite them with their families, it's just a great success story.
Yeah, a great story all around.
York Regional Police Sergeant Andy Pattenden. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, some TTC special constables and fare inspectors will soon be equipped with body cameras as part of a new pilot project. 20
special constables and 20 fare inspectors, they're going to be outfitted with the devices for a 9-month trial. The initiative will use a phased approach where special constables and fare inspectors will rotate wearing the cameras during a 6-week period. The pilot will explore the benefits and potential issues associated with TTC personnel using the equipment.
More fare inspection, so I guess if they need to do that, they should do it. They'll only bother people who skip the fare.
I don't see what kind of danger they would be in. So it is what it is to me. But at the end of the day, I really don't see a point.
The presence of body-worn cameras will inevitably and by design capture people in their worst moments, which contributes to the systemic over-surveillance of homeless people.
Increasing the presence of enforcement, we'll see also an increase in troubles that's prevalent in law enforcement across the country.
The TTC says it's going to conduct a review after a 9-month pilot period.
Okay, coming up next on CP24 Live at noon, we're going to speak to Environment Canada about the special weather statement that's for the GTA. A rainfall warning has ended but we're still under a special weather statement for strong wind gusts. That's going to be happening tonight. So to talk about the current conditions and what to expect this weekend, we turn to Gerald Chang, meteorologist with Environment Canada. Gerald, how much rain have we received in the past, 24 hours?
Well, just looking at the statistics, so far we've reported about 42 millimeters of rain from Pearson. We're still waiting for the final numbers. The rain has tapered off, but this system hasn't ended because this is a big system that's covering Ontario all the way to Atlantic Canada.
Okay, so Gerald, the wind gusts this evening could be up to 80 kilometers an hour. Are we talking about, hey, people need to make sure that they tie down their patio furniture this evening? Like, what? Put this in perspective, please.
Well, we do need to do that to make sure to secure loose items, bring them back inside or tie them down. And of course, if you have trash cans, you don't want to leave them out. And, so often when we talk about 80 kilometers per hour gusts, we hear reports of power outages because it can break branches and branches knock out power lines and then you have a power outage. So be prepared for that. And it is going to be a windy, basically, it's going to be increasingly windy. The peak of the winds is really overnight into tomorrow morning. Still a windy day for Saturday, so we're not completely out of the woods for Saturday.
Gerald, I think, what was it, just a couple weeks ago we had some snow, now we have rain. What is going on?
Well, spring is really a transition season, and we are trying to exit out of winter, but we're not quite there yet, and so we have to deal with these April showers, and hopefully there will be more May flowers. But right now, we still have to deal with the big systems.
Gerald, I can't believe you did that to me. You totally stole my thunder. April showers bring May flowers. Okay, is this going to be a soggy month, or are we kind of like at the end of the rain that we're going to be seeing?
Well, we still have to be prepared for these big systems, but in there could be warmer days. And so disturbances moving through, we could still have thunderstorms. So we are flipping back and forth between summer weather and winter weather, and we have to be prepared for that.
And then for those budding gardeners out there, you see what I did? What's your forecast?
There may be more windy days ahead, so be prepared for that. Make sure that you plan accordingly, because even in May, they could still be flurries.
Okay, so let's talk about this weekend because it's Friday afternoon. People want to make plans. What exactly are we looking at? Take us through, and then, you know what? We got to even look towards Monday because it's coming.
Well, I don't really have a promising forecast for the weekend because it's gonna be gray, and it's going to stay gray pretty much. And even on Sunday, the system is leaving, but then there's a disturbance that, because of that, we could see some showers. There will be more sun Monday and Tuesday, and that's when everybody goes back inside and work in the offices.
And Gerald, I noticed something. A high of 16 degrees by early next week. Is this the beginning of what's to come? I'm talking about summer, or are we going to expect another dip?
Well, temperatures will fluctuate, and that's the characteristic of the spring season. As I've said, May, we've had flurries before, so don't put those snow tires away just yet. Wait till May, really.
Okay. Meteorologist Gerald Chang with Environment Canada. Thank you for the mixed bag.
You're welcome.
Well, registration opens today for the 44th annual Terry Fox Run.
And Terry's brother Daryl joined us live earlier today to talk about his legacy.
People are living longer with this disease, better treatments. I always talk about Terry's form of cancer, osteogenic sarcoma. When he was diagnosed in 1977, he was told he had a 20 to 30% chance of living. If he were diagnosed today, he'd had close to an 80% chance of living, and he never would have had his leg amputated. Now, for me, as a younger brother, that's extremely powerful. I cannot change history. I cannot change how cancer has touched my life, but with every loony and toonie we raise today, we are saving lives in the future. And that was Terry's message to all of us in 1980.
And this year, 10,000 schools will be holding Terry Fox runs to raise funds for cancer research. That team continues to do such great work all these years later.
Well, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they have a pair of new reality shows coming out on Netflix.
The first one will see Meghan share her love of cooking, gardening, entertaining, and friendship. The news comes after the Duchess of Sussex launched a new lifestyle brand called American Riviera Orchard. The second series will be an in-depth look at the world of professional polo. No release dates have been announced just yet. Both shows are said to be in the early stages of production.
Thank you for watching CP24 Live at noon.